Welcome to another episode of Boss Talks. Today we're doing something a little different and we're doing it in person. I have with me Kimberly. I will let her introduce herself and tell you guys what businesses she owns and operates.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. I own Juice Bar in Noda and Members Only Tasting Room and Social here in Plaza Midwood. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. And before that, I owned Vivian B, named after my grandmother.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Juice Box.
So Juice Box is the all-natural wellness bar. It kind of started with me trying to figure out what I needed to turn the clothing store into because it just wasn't making the money that you need for like retirement. It's how I started feeling at the time the older I got. It started up as me just, just not knowing that much about juice bars, but my sister had sent me information from like Dr. Sadie. Mm-hmm. And she was like, we would laugh about his content because it was like he was talking health and wellness and all things, right? Like me removing mucus from your body, but he would be in the bed with like 2 and 3 women.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I was like, I had like an epiphany, like it was an aha moment because I was kind of knowing that I needed to change the clothing store. I was trying to figure out like what to change it into. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to change it into a bar. So this kind of came seamless to me because I had started the process like 6 years ago. But then I'm in a building that has residents upstairs. It's a condo building. They only allow 25% liquor sales. So because I was leaving retail and wanting like nothing retail, then it was like, well, what else can you do then since you can't turn this little space into a bar? Okay. And so Dr. Sadie, and I was like, oh, okay, juice box. And so it started off kind of basic with just like, spinach and kale and like
I'm basic.
Ginger.
I just know spinach and some berries and put it in a smoothie with a little
and that's how I started. And like going to other like juice bars around, it was kind of just like, okay, everybody kind of had the same thing. But since then, now we're going on year 4 this month. It's evolved. So now I know about, thank you. It's like, okay, well, let's add moringa and, I don't know, like sea moss is big right now and tiger balm, like, stuff that you just learn as you go. So I've slowly added more. Now we have like turkey wraps. It was never food. It was always, so it started just smoothies, toast. Smoothies and juice. And then we added like toast, so like avocado toast, strawberry toast. And then now it's, salads.
I'm telling y'all, health is well.
Then turkey wraps came. It is. It makes you feel good. I definitely noticed the difference from like me being there 12 hours a day versus and how I would feel versus like coming here to now it's like alcohol, and spirits.
So tell us a little bit about Members Only.
So I've wanted the name Members Only forever. So me and my girlfriend back probably like 3 years ago, her aunt passed away from breast cancer. And so, I was just still like I've always known that I wanted to have like a little lounge. It was a spot called the Wine Loft on South Boulevard, and it's tiny. It's a tiny joint. It's super cute and quaint, and that was like my vibe. So I was like, oh, like one day I want a spot like this where it's like really tiny, really chill, and essentially like that's what I have now. But
Members Only is definitely like that. So if you're ever in the Charlotte area, sorry for cutting her off. Come and visit. Members Only is super cute, super quaint. The vibe is good. And I let her pick.
What was I saying? So I always knew I wanted something small and cool. But the name, I was like, I've always, I don't know, like, Members Only jackets back in the day.
Yeah,
but
I remember.
And this guy came in with one the other day. It was so dope. He said it was a new one, though. So apparently they back on the apparel thing. But it was like, she was like, I was like, well, let's call it Members Only because I've always been like the person that wants to do things that you're not supposed to do. Or like whatever seems exclusive. Yeah, I'm like, well, that's what we'll be about. Like, nope, we're going to go here. Like, hey, no, we're not supposed to be here. But we'll, pull on up. And so she wanted to start doing these events. And I was like, well, let's call them Members Only because I'm going to eventually open up a bar called Members Only. But let's go ahead and start throwing parties just to get people engaged, right?
Right.
And just start knowing the names. So it could be a production company first, right? And we'll just do events. Obviously, it didn't go anywhere besides that one party 3 years ago, but now here we are where now it's a lounge for sure. And it's
Okay.
dope. So I was just like, oh, here comes the name.
What motivated you to like become an entrepreneur and just like jump out the window and say, hey, I want to start my own business?
It was never really like a instant like motivation. It's kind of, I feel like, been ingrained in me. I've never been that person that was like, oh, I want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a police officer. I always never knew what I wanted to do.
But you knew you wanted to do something different.
Yeah, so people would be like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. I just want to work for myself. So it's always been that. And it worked out like that.
It did.
Yeah, like from graduation.
Like as a child.
Man, have you ever read The Secret?
That is my favorite book ever. I watch the movie at least once a month. It's like my mindset maintenance. Like when I need to be grounded or like pull it back and realize like, no, you can have what you want.
Yeah.
I watch The Secret. Or I'll just go to the book and I'll flip it open and I'll start reading a passage from there.
Yeah, your mind is powerful. Like really, like you are what you think. Like what you think, you create. And like that's why you have to be like, you know, securing yourself, but like managing your emotions and your feelings.
Because that negativity comes in,
and you put it out. You mess yourself up.
Yeah. So yes, The Secret. If y'all don't have it, go get it. Watch the movie. It's on Netflix. It's free.
Yeah. I read the book a while ago, and I realized was like when the clothing store wasn't doing good. I don't know. It was just like probably like a lot going on in my life right then. So a lot was going on right then. I needed to change like what I was doing in terms of business, and I didn't know what I wanted it to be. Like, you know, I said that, and my sister, like the same sister that introduced Dr. Safi, she was like, I'm about to send you this book. And literally, like, once I read the book, everything changed. And I feel like I'm like, my middle name is Faith. I've always like walked in faith. Like, you know, like I've never really been a pessimist, but I realized in that time frame, and I think maybe like everything that was occurring in my life, it made me be like that for probably about like a year and a half.
And you had to flip the switch.
Once I read the book, I was like, oh my God, I realized where I've been messing up.
So when I read it,
everything changed.
It was similar like that for me, but it was like, this is stuff that we all know. This is stuff that has been ingrained in us since childhood. And I don't know why it's that we don't want to believe it or we're trained not to believe it. I don't think
people know.
I feel like the world kind of puts that damper on you and kind of makes you negative because so many things.
The media, for sure.
And so it's like you forget that you actually have the power over your life. And so reading books like that or watching movies like that, like another one is The Celestine Prophecy. That's another one of my favorite books of all time.
You gotta tell me when we get off of this.
Yes, it is like, it's all about energy and like mindset. And I think people forget, like when I tell people The Secret is not really a secret. Yeah. These are all things that you know. You just have to put them into action.
Yeah, it's really like one thing is like really knowing that energy is real. So like, you know, you hear people say like negative energy or like not, you know, taking on anybody else's energy, but it's really
transferable for real.
It is, and you gotta protect it. And you can, that's the magic in it all, right? Because you can create what you want.
Exactly.
And it's all like within your energy, for sure.
So my next question is, do you have any regrets becoming an entrepreneur?
No, I don't have like not one. You know, as you go on in life, hindsight is 2020. You look back and see like decisions that you should have made and things that you should have done differently. But I kind of really believe that everything happens the way it's supposed to. So it's all in a learning lesson. You know, in watching The Secret yesterday, because now I kind of feel like what you just said, like this is my daily maintenance. Because I must have gave the book. I gave it to the girl that does my hair. So I don't have the book right now in the house. And normally I have books that I could just like, you know, open a page and reference back to. A lot of them
changes how you feel.
And they're all kind of a line of like The Secret, like the 4 agreements, a happy pocket full of money, which has nothing to do with money, but it's all about like, you know, just creating and energy and receiving it, believing it. I'll just open stuff up, but I don't know, I was scrolling through Netflix, so I clicked it on. But anyway, it was just talking about like you are what you create. And so when I say, like, you know, I feel like everything happens for a reason and the way it's supposed to, you align yourself back with whatever path that you want to take and where you want to go when you change your mind frame, change your thought, or get back on track. Because sometimes it's kind of hard. You know, you fall off track, or you
and
know,
then it's like, oh man, like I can't do it, or I feel defeated and I want to give up. But then you have to remind yourself, no, I got this. I got this.
And so things happen in between time that, you know, could maybe slow the process, because that's, I feel like a lot of it, like slowing the process when you fall off track. But no, I don't have any regrets in anything, you know what I mean? Especially in terms of business. You know, you live and learn in life, and I believe you become a better person daily, you know, every hour, every minute. But, you know, no, I mean, you know, God knows me.
I know that's right.
He knows my spirit.
God knows my heart. We love to say
so
that.
if I did something wrong, I'm sorry.
Right. If I was ever the toxic person in your life,
I apologize.
Forgive me.
If I hurt your feelings ever in life, I truly do apologize.
What has been your biggest success thus far in business? Like something that you could say, like, man, like, is there a point where you feel like I made it, or like?
I think just doing it overall, you know, like with everything that I've done, because Memphis Only was the first grand opening event I did. And I was telling my guy, like, we were talking about, like, you know, like just different things we were going to do, or like what I should do. And I was telling him, like, dang, I've never done a grand opening because I've never felt like anything was grand. Oh, wow. So I would be like, oh, so even with the clothing store, it's like, you know, my family came down. It was just like we opened the doors. It wasn't like, oh, let's get balloons, let's get cake. It was just like, nope, we've been hustling to
there
get
was no
here.
Celebration.
Let's open the doors, and I'm celebrating everybody coming in, but not really taking a moment to be like,
I did this. This is my
show. And so after so the same thing with Juice Box, never a grand opening. And I used to say that, like, you know, one day I'm going to do it, like, when I feel like it's grand. But, you know, I think you just have to celebrate, like, for real, every day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so...
like, I'm at that place in my life. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm at a place in my life where it's like, oh, I don't need to save this for something special. Like, every day is special. Life is so short. And so you really have to celebrate every single day, and even the small wins are like, I learned something new today. Like, look at me, I'm moving on up, because so many people wait until other people decide, oh, that's big for you. And it's like, no, what's big for you? Like, what means something to you on the inside? So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So, you know, I just would say, like, every day. And really just the fact that I've, you know, kind of made it to where I've made it, and to be like in school and people asking me like, well, what do you want to do? And then me be like, I just want to work for myself. And then to see now at 35 what I was telling people, you know what I mean, back then, it's like, well, I could really just be grateful and see like, okay, well, this has manifested. Like, I have done it. So, like, you know, it's all celebratory, honestly.
What
and now I'm gonna celebrate the anniversaries.
Yes, 4 years.
And it's coming up. It's like the 16th of November, and then here it's gonna be like year 2 would be January 25th. So now I'm like, oh, let's celebrate everything.
Come help her celebrate.
Yeah, come on.
Her 4 years at Juice Box and the 2nd year for Members Only. I guess my next question would be, what like books, podcasts, or like things like that do you, I know you said a few, like The Secret, what other ones do you like use to like help keep you motivated?
So I want to get more into podcasts, because my friend told me a while ago like I should listen to Oprah's podcast, and I used to listen to Joel Osteen's all the time, but you know, it's really just, I feel like his whole ministry is just like being a positive person.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so podcasts I can't really say because I don't really have much. Those are like 2 I downloaded and I never really listened to. But in terms of books, I realized like a lot of my books are the same. So like A Happy Pocket Full of Money, The 4 Agreements.
But that's okay. I mean, if that's what works for you.
Yeah, and so it's all stuff like that. Love and Respect was one that I really like. You're a Badass.
Yes, I love that.
That was a good one too. And they all are kind of along the same lines, and so I like
self-help.
And then it kind of brings you back in line and then like on track with what I said I learned, because like I told you, The Secret like changed everything, and then every book from there has been like, oh, okay, this was a good refresher,
right?
Because then once I read The Secret, I read like, what was it, The Attraction, and then
she has like 2 other books,
and then The Power.
And
so it was like The Secret, the Power, and I think it was The Attraction, but I know for sure it's The Secret and The Power. So then I just was like, let me read all of them. And then every other book since then has they all kind of like aligned themselves.
Okay. Did you have a business coach or a mentor to help you along the way?
No, I was always attracted to anybody. Like, I'm like, what was it saying? Like, I was about to say. It's like, see some people getting money in the town, I like it. So I was always attracted to people that appeared to be successful and like have their stuff going on. So I would try to align myself with the people. I was like, okay, so she's getting it, he's getting it. Let me see what's going on. And so one of them for sure was Greg Motley. He owns the Savoy, and now it's called Club 704. He was one person that, in working for him, it was a bar or club, and he would like tell me kind of everything. Him and my contractor
about like the business.
Yeah, he wouldn't really like, and it wasn't even like me really like, okay, I'm about to do this. Let me figure it out and like ask you questions. It would kind of just be like basic stuff, like, asking him like, oh, so you like writing, what do you mean when you like writing everything off on your taxes? Like you saying like we're talking business, like little stuff. And he didn't have a problem with letting me, see like the back end a little bit of like what he was doing in business. And I tell you, didn't want to share nothing with me is Adolph. If anybody know Adolph,
I don't know who that is.
Oh, it was a club called 935, and I would tell him specifically, like, one day I want to open up a bar. Like, let me work in the office versus bartending, so I can kind of learn. And he was like, I'm not putting you in none of my business. And I was like, oh,
wow, that's so unfortunate. Like, so many people don't want to help other people,
and I tell everything
when they become successful. It's like, when you become successful, you're supposed to reach back for the people beneath you and bring them up. Like, there's enough success, there's enough money, there's enough wealth,
for everybody,
knowledge for everybody. That's sucks. Like,
I'll never forget. One day I was in church and the pastor said that God doesn't overflow your cup for it to spill on the floor.
No, you're supposed to give it to somebody else.
You pass it on. You pull another cup up to catch the blessing over.
And see, that's one thing I say is I'm not a blessings hoarder. Like, when I get blessed, I have to help someone else, because if my hands are full of blessings, how am I going to get more?
Yeah.
Like, I got to get
it's like your closet. Like, how am I fit more stuff in this closet if I hold on to everything?
I got to get rid of some of these clothes and shoes. I might not want to, but, I mean, at some point, it's like you're not going to be able to fit any new blessings. And what God has for you could be so much bigger than what you're trying to hold on to. So,
and it's enough for everybody. It's like what you said. That's a for true statement. Like, it's so many ways out here to get money, and then it's like each one teach one. So then once you teach somebody else something, like, they can come on and come back and let you know something like, oh, this is what I found out. But so I would say like he was really helpful, and then everybody in my family, like my grandfather was like super successful in business and just like in his career, and a lot of people in my family in general. So I would always get
information.
I would get good information for sure. And then I just learned a lot doing it. So everybody would ask me like, well, how did you do it? And I was like, I literally just did it.
That was going to be my next question. So great segue into the next one. Like, how did you start your business? Like, so, that's what I do. I help people start. And so many people are like clueless on where to start or what to do or like how to file paperwork. Like, tell us how you started.
So my degree is in business. So some of like the basic stuff, which is really just all you really need to do to start business, it starts with the paperwork, right? And so all of that I learned in like my business courses at Smith. So before graduation, I did my senior exit on like why small businesses fail within the first like 1, 3 to 5 years. And so I did interviews on all these people in business, like James Whitner, who owns Social Status and all around the damn world at this point. What's her name? Effie, who used to own Lotus, and then she turned it into like another name I can't remember. Lockstar, which was April and Tanisha. And so after that, it was kind of really just me like, okay, what do I need to do? And me doing the research for it, or already knowing how I wanted to set up my business in terms of like, okay, I know I'm gonna do an LLC, but like why, doing this and that. And then literally it came to me just finding a location, and it wasn't like I had no whole bunch of money. You get to the point where like, okay, you've done so much research that it's like, okay, well now it's time to just bust a move.
Right. You can't just wait. I tell people like,
I be like, you be researched out. Like, okay, I don't know how many more things you're gonna look up before you just do it.
So I definitely preach research. Like, do your research, because you don't want to just start something and then like have to restart it. Even though you will restart, a failure is a part of success. But at some point, you just have to start. Like, it's not going to be perfect when you start. Like, your first podcast is going to be terrible. Like, your first video is going to be terrible. Your first like content on social media is going to be terrible. Like, your first packaging, like, it's not going to be like people that have been in the game for 10 years. So, like she said, you just got to start. And so many people are afraid. Like, fear is definitely built in a lot of people, and they're like, well, what's gonna happen if this, or what's gonna happen if that? And it's like, well, what if it never happens?
And that's what you have to go off of. Like, you could be scared to start something, or you're gonna just never start nothing because you're scared. Right. You don't get an outcome.
I know that's right. What are your essential tools for success? So what are some things that you do daily, or continuously?
I just stay prayed up.
I know that's right.
No, for real. Like, pray. I do yoga, but not like real serious yoga. It's probably really like me, really just like stretching. I'll like pray. I usually pray in the shower. And I kind of just set my intentions for the day. So I don't really have any super tools, but I stay positive. It's probably it. So, like, even when things come on that can be like what some may be like, oh, this is going to be messed up, or this is a failure, or this was a bad day, or this wasn't right, I kind of always flip it around and be like, no, it's all good. Like, I learned now from this, and this is how it's going to go. So probably just being like staying happy and positive.
Okay. I mean, it's not that too many times I interview people and they don't say prayer, or they don't say like being positive. So when you said, I'm like, I know that's right, because so many people like forget that you have to be aligned, and what God, like you said before, what God has for you is for you. And so you want
to be led in the right direction. Like, sometimes like you could just go on and like so many things coming, but you want to make sure it's the right stuff. Because I learned a little while ago, like, all money's not good money. And I never understood that. So this was probably like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But you've heard people say that for years. Like,
but then you don't know
not good money.
What it means until you get into a situation. You like,
and I was like, oh,
right.
Okay. All money's not good money. Check this. So, just like definitely having discernment is like one thing.
Absolutely.
Like, go with your mind. Like, whatever you feel, believe, like, that's real. It's
because
not
gut intention, like, that's
a real
thing. Like, when something doesn't feel right.
You. That's the Holy Spirit.
When something doesn't feel right. What advice would you give people that are trying to start a business, that are, new to the game?
I say just do it. Because I feel like you said, research, like, research everything. You're gonna fail, you know what I mean? Anyway, like, but in doing it, you will learn. And you'll know how to do it the right way.
I feel like every failure is a lesson learned. Like, you need to fail so that you can learn something. Like, perfect doesn't exist.
And do something that you have fun with. Because, like, I always say, like, it's certain things I really like, but I'm like, I don't, like, think that I don't do, because I'm like, well, how am I really gonna make money doing that? But the money will come in real life. Like, you really just kind of have to do things that are fun for you.
Like passion projects, and like do things that are aligned with your purpose.
And you can figure out how to make so many ways to make money. Like, you can figure out, like, if you really like it, there's a way for you to make money in it. And because you really like it, you'll easily find the ways to make money in it.
Right. And you won't get like tired and like, I don't want to do this anymore because it's ingrained. It's like, but I like doing this.
So it'll never feel like work. And people say that, it's like kind of cliche, because I used to feel like that. Like, I'm like,
like, I gotta work on my own business. It still work, and then you start doing your own stuff, and you like, why can't I don't really feel like I'm working?
Yeah, like, this definitely doesn't feel like work to me. Juice box is a lot more work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is easy because my personality is like really social.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm super carefree, and to me, that's what Members Only is. It's loungy, it's laid back, it's, you know, it's a good social space. So that's easy for me. Over there, I'd be like, oh, yep, I'm looking.
But it's still something that you're like passionate.
No, I love it. It's a lot of things that I love over there, but it's a lot of things that I'm like, it's work. You know what I mean? Which this is work too. You know what I mean? It's all work. But it's just like, if you find things that are more like, really, this is my, you know what I mean? Like, I'm
your
like,
heart's in it.
Yeah. So like, when my friends come over, like, I like entertaining. So I'm like, you know, pulling out trays and like, you know what I mean, trying to make cute cocktails.
Boards.
Yeah, like, it just comes naturally. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I mean. Like, when I say this doesn't feel like as much work as over there, because it's like, I'm not always making smoothies. You know, most people are like, oh, let's have a mimosa.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just different. But I learned that I like to create stuff. So I like putting businesses together. Like, I like, you know, like, analyzing the space, like, you know, like, architecture of it, decor of it, you know, menu, planning. Like, I like doing that. So for me, it's naturally easy to put businesses together, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So that was going to be my next question. Like, what's your favorite part of being an entrepreneur? But I guess you already answered.
I like putting it together. I do. I like having a thought and watching it come into play.
What's your least favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
Oh man, you know, dealing with the government.
Because we all want to be like Donald Trump and not pay taxes, right?
Man, it's like, I had to learn, like, okay, check, you need an accountant.
Right.
You know what I mean? You definitely have to put people in place for the things that are not your strongest suit. Or, you know, the things, because I'll get the letters, I'm like, okay, I'm going to handle this.
And then you forget about it.
You forget about it, or you're calling and you're getting misinformation. Even like with this, when it came to like the liquor tax, I'm like I'm calling and applying, and I'm sending money, and they sending me stuff back like, yeah, no, this is for like if you're making your own spirits. And the crazy thing is, even with my accountant, she was having a hard time finding it, because she was like, okay, so something has changed here. And so, you know, it's like, you don't know, and then you don't know that your accountant not going to know.
Right. Because it's like,
she's I
hired a professional, but there's certain things that she knows.
It's just different. So it's like, you don't know, and maybe somebody else not going to know, but you got a better chance of like a professional that's used to dealing with the IRS figuring it out for you. But, you know, I would say, yeah, that part, because it's so easy to just get in there and do it and create and make everything nice for everybody. But then it's the whole back door behind it that, you know.
It's the stuff that I do.
The finances, keeping the business aspect. The budgeting, you know, the buying. So, because buying is not just about like, oh, okay, we're going to get this and this and this. And that's
you have to like,
it's the numbers all behind it to keep everything going. Your profit margins.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, all of that stuff that I'm like,
So what do you think is the most important aspect of starting a business?
I would say marketing. I think that's why I messed up in the beginning.
I definitely, and I say this in all my interviews, marketing was a struggle for me with like a couple businesses. And I was just like, I can't figure it out. Like, I don't know how to get to my target market. I know who my target market is, but
I think
how am I supposed to reach them? And then over time, it was like, okay, now I'm kind of figuring it out and I'm getting into it. So yeah. How do you market your business?
Mainly social media. It's been a lot of like periodicals, like, so that's been good, like, you know, local publications and stuff, but really just social media.
Social media has taken over.
It's really different now. So like, that part has been, you know, dope. You know what I mean?
Because nobody watches TV anymore. Nobody reads newspapers.
Yeah.
So it's like, how else do we do it? So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. So how can the people find you?
So you can find us at Members Only _CLT, and then at Juicebox Charlotte. Juice BOX Charlotte. That's it.
Okay, is there anything else you would like us to know about you, your business, or entrepreneurship in general?
No, just be great. No.
Go be great.
No, I thank you.
I thank you for joining me and like taking
cool.
time out of your schedule to talk to me and talk to the people. So many people have questions about like how to start businesses and want to hear the real from people about like, no.
Well, you can probably catch me anywhere, anytime, and I'll tell you anything you want to know. But in general, no, I mean, you know, it's not really.
What did Jay-Z say? Don't be good, be great.
Oh, that's what he said. And I always say be great, and that's my man. That's my homie.
That's what he said. He's like the big brother I never had. But once again, I'd like to say thank you, and thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Boss Talks. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.